What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob coming in with the wild card breakdown for the Giants versus the Vikings. So excited for this game. This is the first Giants playoff game since 2016. Absolutely can't wait for this game in Minnesota. 4:30 this Sunday. In today's preview, I want to break down a couple different things that the Giants are going to need to do to be successful in this game. The first thing is going to be stopping Dalvin Cook. Yes, the last 3 weeks, Dalvin Cook has not had much success, and he even dropped out of one game. 3 games ago, when the Vikings beat the Giants on Christmas Eve, he had 14 attempts for 64 yards. The week after that, they lost to Green Bay 41-17, where he had 9 attempts for 27 rushing yards. And then the last game of the year for them, when they beat Chicago 29-13, he had 11 attempts for 37 yards. In his last 2 games, he's averaging 3.2 yards per carry, which is pretty low compared to the rest of his season average. So the Giants cannot let Dalvin Cook get started, because when Dalvin Cook gets started, it opens up everything else that the Vikings can do really well, right? Because Kirk Cousins obviously can't move too well in the pocket, but where Kirk Cousins can get a little bit of time and separation is through the play action game. So I think in this game, you're going to see the Vikings try and push for Dalvin Cook right off the bat. Maybe a couple runs with him, try and, if they can move the chains, go back to him right away, because that opens up everything else. You could hit Hockenson in the play action passing game, and then that also gives a little bit more separation for Justin Jefferson. Not that he really needs it because he's so good, but to get to that second level when the linebackers are kind of, Giants linebackers are focused in on that initial fake and trying to stop the run, where we haven't done a great job of successfully stopping that at this point this year, and I don't think that's necessarily going to change. So that's obviously something to look into for this game. Dalvin Cook versus the Giants front 7, and that's impacts on the play action passing game. The second thing that's going to need to happen in this game is the Giants to get going offensively. Well, how can they do that? Very simple. It is getting Daniel Jones involved, but also making sure that Daniel Jones has time up front to let our receivers get downfield and be able to just get a little bit of separation. In these last few weeks, you've seen Danny Dimes put the ball in very small windows to be successful, and obviously I think that's going to happen in this matchup. The Vikings, I don't think, have the best passing secondary, so I think we could take advantage of them. Daniel Jones' last game versus the Vikings on Christmas Eve, he went 30 for 42 for 334 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. So again, that goes back to giving us time up front, where it was Evan Neal, I think he was getting blasted off the edge. I think it was by Everson Griffin or someone else on that D-line who was playing very successful against him. So I think I'm hoping what you see with these Giants rested up a little bit after losing to the Eagles last week, but where we rested all of our starters, that guy should be a little bit healthier, which brings me to number 3, Saquon Barkley. Mike Kafka has been in the headlines this week, not for anything right now that he's been doing for the Giants. Leading up to this game, and particularly, it's been what he's done this whole season, and now you're seeing other teams wanting to interview him for that head coaching job, for their vacancies at least. So I think this is a great audition for Mike Kafka to prove that he could be a head coach somewhere else if he could get the Giants offense as creative as possible, designing plays. I mean, I think I've shown in my recap videos that the Giants offense is being very creative, especially when they put a tight end in the backfield and they fake a play action pass and go back to the tight end or stuff along those lines, just moving a lot of guys around, keeping defenses on their toes to not let them get set before the snap. And that's helpful because, one, that gives our receivers some time to get downfield, and it doesn't allow for that defensive line to really pin their ears back and try and get as good of a rush as possible, because they might be trying to think there's a run if there's so much motion at the same time. I also think what we have to do this time is allow Danny Dimes to run a little bit more compared to the last time we played, where against the Vikings he had 4 rushes for 34 yards. And you could see that conversely to compare, obviously, the Colts game, after that. The Colts aren't very good, and they were kind of in their last legs. But Danny Dimes did rush 11 times for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if we could get Danny Dimes in some creative space, whether that's read option or a play action boot, and it's really going to come down to him making some plays on third downs, particularly with his legs, to keep a drive alive. So what it's going to come down to in this game is Danny Dimes trying to keep the Giants' drives alive by extending it with his legs, getting a big play out of Saquon, or 2 or 3 or 4 as many as Saquon could do. He should be well rested after not playing last week, so we should have a lot of fresh legs out there. Number 3, obviously didn't touch on it this much because I think you could look at the tape last time to see what guys like Justin Jefferson and Hockenson can do to destroy the Giants secondary. And I think what we're getting back that we didn't have last time around is Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney. And Adoree Jackson's arguably having one of his best careers to date. So I can't wait to see this matchup on him versus Justin Jefferson, and also having McKinney back in the secondary, and Landon Collins, his resurgence last couple weeks as well. So he's been ramping up, significantly increasing his amount of playtime and making plays too. So this is the healthiest I think we'll see our entire team this year. Can't wait for it. And number 4 is just trying to mitigate the Vikings rushing offense as much as possible, which will be a tall task given Dalvin Cook's explosive playability and the Vikings needing to get him going to open up the rest of their offense. Having said that, I am so fucking pumped up for this game. I hope you guys are too. I'm not going to give any bets for this one besides Giants +3 and Giants money line. And the final score that I'll give for this one is 19-17. Giants will kick a field goal for the win as time expires and pay back the cycle for what the Vikings did last time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, how the Giants will get it done, or any other thoughts or bets that you want to throw in there. Let me know, and we'll talk about it through the comment thread. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your day and week, and let's go Giants.